So another year of gaming down, another year of E3. Today we're going to be talking about E3 2021 Xbox predictions. I've been waiting to do this video. It's definitely one of the highlights every year of doing, but let's get straight into it. But before we get on to predictions, definitely hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video. You can always subscribe to the channel for weekly content. And don't forget to go there and follow me at Twitter at LordAddictILP. Without any further ado, let's talk about E3 2021. What's going on, you guys? Gaming out here, coming at you with another video. You guys know what it is, man. It's prediction time. We're going to be going over the certain announcements that I kind of expect at this conference. We're going to go over the third-party announcements that I could see. We're also going to go over a few studios that maybe Microsoft might be announcing that they've purchased at this event. Then we're going to go over all the first-party studios and whether or not I feel like they're going to be there, and if they are going to be there, what game are they going to be shown. And then for shits and giggles, towards the end of the video, I'm gonna bring up my drop the mic moments. And a lot of the drop the mic moments means there is probably 30% chance that any of these happen, and some is even higher than that. So first thing, let's go over third-party presence at Microsoft's E3 2021. I'm gonna be real with you folks. I don't want to see a whole lot of third-party here unless it's something huge. I don't want to see a lot of titles that's not made by Microsoft unless it's something that's never been announced and it's a high-caliber game. I personally feel like Microsoft in the past has leaned on third-party. But now, since they have so many first-party studios, I no longer want them to really focus on third-party, but I do understand the business. The business is that sometimes this comes about politics. If there's a hot third-party title and they want to get that marketing deal for it, sometimes they gotta show it on their stage and there's nothing they can do about it. But I do have exceptions for third-party. If it has that tag Game Pass day and day on it, and I feel like here recently, a lot of people didn't think that Microsoft could get a lot of these third parties day and day on their service, on Game Pass, but with games such as MLB The Show and Outriders, I feel like they shut up a lot of the naysayers, and it is possible to get a lot of these third-party titles on their service day and day, but it just depends on how much Microsoft's willing to put behind that wallet. So let's talk about a couple games that I personally could see showing up on the stage and have at the end of that trailer on Game Pass day and day. And you know, maybe they won't have it there at the stage, but if these titles show up on the stage, I would expect maybe a couple months before these games come out that they announce that they're going into Game Pass day and day, unless Microsoft really dropped off that bag to be able to announce it at this show. First game is Battlefield 6. Obviously, there's no need to really go too much into this. Battlefield hasn't been around a while, and I feel like it is on a downward spiral. So what is the perfect way to get that in everyone's good graces, but putting it into Game Pass day and day? We've seen stuff like Outriders and MLB sell on top of the charts on Xbox. So it is definitely one of those things that getting this game to the most people that it possibly can, to have moments where it's word by mouth, where people say, yo, Battlefield 6 is great. How did you get it? If they're on PlayStation, obviously they gotta buy the platform. If they're on PC, clearly they have to buy it, because chances are if Battlefield 6 came to Game Pass, it would only be on the console version, I would assume. But if it is on the PC version, that's great. But right now, I'm saying Battlefield 6 shows up here with some kind of trailer, and at the end of the trailer, it says going in Game Pass day and date, and I think that is probably the safe bet from all of these third-party titles. But let's get on to the next one. Dragon Quest 12. I know a lot of you probably rolled your eyes there, regardless if you're a PlayStation fan, and you're saying, Addict, that would never happen. They would never do that. Square Enix would never put this type of game on Game Pass day and day. Well, I really feel like Microsoft would really go above and beyond to get this type of game onto their service day and day. It's no secret Microsoft's trying to improve the relations with the third-party developers that's in the Eastern market. And what's the perfect way to do that? Going above and beyond and showing that you care about their games, their brands, enough to pay them money to put their games on Game Pass day and day. It's no secret that we've seen stuff like Yakuza and Dragon Quest on Game Pass up until now. I would not be surprised if Microsoft takes that extra step, goes to Square Enix and be like, look, Our audience loved Dragon Quest XI. What is it gonna take for us to get this new installment not only on the Xbox platform, but also in Game Pass day and date? Now, my next game is Dying Light 2. Look, I know a lot of people have been real skeptical when it comes to Dying Light 2 because of the amount of issues they're having in development time, but I feel like right there is enough reason that maybe they can actually get that into Game Pass day and date. It's a lot easier to go to a studio that's kind of struggling a little bit and offer to help them get back on track as long as they help scratch their back. So I feel like if Microsoft went in there and tried to correct the shit that was happening, which I don't think anyone really knows besides maybe Teclan of what exactly was going on with their studio, and if Microsoft was willing to help with it, if there was issues, let's be clear here, we don't know if there was actually really serious issues with Teclan. It's just a lot of people assume there was. Maybe they got in return like, look, if you guys help us, we will put Dying Light 2 into Game Pass day and date, coming out this year. I think it's December the 7th, and that is our gratitude. That is the agreement that we have made, as long as you help us correct this shit. And like I said, I have no inside knowledge whatsoever if there was any type of issues going on with Teclan, but I do feel like with the amount of delays, especially delaying your game indefinitely, I feel like there might have been really serious issues that was going on in the development of Dying Light 2. Now, clearly there's a lot more different third party that could show up here. There's a lot of games that no one's heard of that could show up here and have a world premiere. I cannot account for everything. Third party is a very hard thing to predict. But let's go ahead and get on to what I consider one of the highlights that could happen at this event, which is Microsoft has been out in these streets. They've been buying studios, and the question that people always have to say is, yo, could they buy more? I do believe they could buy more, and I have a list of a few studios that I feel like Microsoft might be looking at to purchase to add on to their first party studios. Keep in mind, I'm going to do my best to pronounce these names. You guys know I am with names, but let's get on with this. The first studio on the list is Asbo Studio. Definitely butchered that. We're going to move right past that. The reason I can feel like that they would look at a studio like this is because, one, they're making Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that's definitely been a very successful brand for them. They made that Plague's Tale, which a lot of people ended up really enjoying, and I feel like these type of games would work well in Game Pass. They are one of those things that you could put between the AAA titles, and you could really give a good sense of value to Game Pass while they wait for those AAA bangers that Microsoft intends to release every 2 to 3 months. The next studio I have to say is Teclan. Yes, I'm aware that Teclan themselves have came out on Twitter and said Microsoft has not bought them, but we have seen from previous acquisitions that sometimes it does not matter what these companies say on Twitter. Sometimes they say stuff to keep that kind of gauges and interest down because they're not really allowed to go over anything like this because of the NDA. So I feel like regardless what they say on Twitter, it's still a possibility. Teclan is a phenomenal studio in my opinion, and I think they would fit in well with the first party studios. Now keep in mind, I do see there's a little bit of contradicting going on when it comes to if they bought Teclan. Teclan makes zombie orientated games, and they already have Undead Labs, but I really don't feel like the games are anything alike, and they can easily coexist with each other in the first party Microsoft lineup and be fine. Microsoft knows that just because Undead Labs makes State of Decay doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to really affect whatever Teclan's doing. As long as they're not launching around the same time of the year or the same year in general, I don't think this is going to be an issue. The next studios do not entertainment. They're the people that make the Life is Strange games. They just recently made an exclusive game to the Xbox platform, and the reason I feel like this is a really good chance that they might announce that they bought this studio is just because of the type of games they make. We all know that Xbox has turned its focus a little bit into the services. Game Pass is a very successful service, and what is the perfect game to put in a service like that? It's those episodic games that do really well, and Don't does that really well. I feel like this studio would fit perfectly with the type of service Game Pass is, and that's why I put this on this list. Now let's go on to the meat and potatoes of this video. Clearly, there's a lot of third-party games that they can get, and there's a lot of studios they can buy, but they already own 23 studios. Let's go over every individual studio and give a little bit of an analysis on whether or not they're going to be there, and most importantly, if they are going to be there, what are they going to show? Let's get on with it. Clearly, first on this list is 343 Industries. I think everyone can agree that Halo is going to be at this event, and I think it's going to be one of the highlights and the pillars of this event. It is very important Microsoft comes out and they hit this out of the park. They show that Halo can be a contender in these kind of streets and that it is a solid shooter, and you should be looking forward to playing this holiday. And I feel like they're going to show multiplayer, maybe a little bit of campaign. I don't know, but the way that the marketing for this event went, it kind of made it look like it's going to be more of a multiplayer thing than it is a story thing. But I'm hoping they give us both, because I feel like just as important as the story, multiplayer is just as important, and vice versa. Halo is one of the very few first-person shooters that people care about both of them, and I think because of the way they showed Halo last year, a lot of people didn't like what they seen, so just showing the multiplayer I feel like would be a mistake. But hopefully we'll see both, man. That's what we need to really try. Microsoft show us both the multiplayer and the story. Let's go on World's Edge. World's Edge makes the Age of Empires games. I think there's a good chance that you'll see this here. I don't know in type of quality. Maybe you'll see the release date. Maybe you'll see some gameplay or another CGI cutscene showing you when the release date is. But I would not be surprised if this game was there. It is definitely one of the highlights of Microsoft. A lot of PC players love Age of Empires, and I would not be surprised one bit if this was there. The Coalition. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I do not believe the Coalition is going to be there. I feel like they have carried the Xbox brand enough the Xbox One generation. They have clearly stated on Twitter that they're working on Unreal Engine 5, and it looked like they wanted a little bit more time to really find out how they want to use this engine to make Gear 6. So I'm saying right now, Coalition is not going to be at E3 2021. Now, Compulsion Games. I'm always back and forth with Compulsion Games. I feel like it's been enough time for them to show something on their next game, but every part of me is like, the pandemic probably pushed that back a year. But I'm going to say right now that I think it's a 50-50 that Compulsion shows up here. I kind of think they're not going to show up, but then every part of me is like, Addict, do not count these people out. I've told you guys over and over again, don't count out Compulsion Games. So I'm going to say right now, it's about a 50-50 chance, and if they show something, be prepared to be surprised. I feel like this company slept on a lot. I feel like when it comes to Compulsion Games, it's one of the kind of like the run of the studios that people kind of not really expect a whole lot from it, and I feel like that's not fair because of the circumstances that We Happy Few was in. But I do feel like you should expect some good things from Compulsion. I just don't know if it's going to be this year or not. So let's talk about Double Fine. Double Fine's clearly most likely going to be there with Psychonauts, and I wouldn't be surprised if they show up with some type of new IP as well. Double Knights is a very efficient machine, and it does not surprise me what this studio does. They could pop out probably a couple games a year easy because of how well-oiled and efficient this studio is. Now let's talk about the Initiative. No, they're not going to be there. Part of me feels like maybe they'll show some kind of gameplay with Perfect Art, but it's like a 70-30 thing. 70 they won't, 30 they will. So definitely do not expect the Initiative there. If that is one of the core studios you need to see to be satisfied, I feel like you're going to be disappointed. But hey, who knows? At this point, man, Microsoft could pop out something just because they know they need to show gameplay. So it could be there, but I personally don't believe it's going to be there. Now, Exile Entertainment could be there. They could show a CGI cutscene for their next game. I think it's a 50-50 at this point. Microsoft clearly has no problem showing games that are no way close to being done. And I think to a point, I'm okay with that, because I do think the first time you see a game, it is okay to be a CGI cutscene. When you see that game again, it's got to be gameplay. And I'm okay with seeing a roadmap of the Xbox studios and what they're doing. It's just, I don't necessarily know if we're going to see them here, or they might wait till like the Video Game Awards, or maybe if they have an XO this year. Mojang Studio, clearly Minecraft is a very big product. It's probably Microsoft's most profitable, most popular game. I clearly see Minecraft in some way, shape, or form being here. I personally don't want Minecraft to be here, but I gotta be realistic. They gotta give the stage time to this game in some form or fashion. I see maybe an update, or maybe they do another big update to Minecraft Dungeons, but I do expect the studio to be here. Now, the next one a lot of people are gonna get in their feelings a little bit, Ninja Theory. I do not think Ninja Theory is gonna be here. If they show some kind of CGI cutscene with no gameplay, I feel like it shouldn't have been there at all, and I feel like that's going to do more harm to this game than help this game. They've showed it twice already. They showed it at the VGAs, and they showed it last year with some weird update. Don't do that, Microsoft. Just let them work on the game, and then next year at E3, show gameplay in all its glory. Let this game skip this event. But at the end of the day, at this point, I don't know. But I personally don't think this game is going to be here. Next game is my personal favorite from all of the studios, Obsidian Entertainment. I believe this studio is going to be here. They could show 2 games. They could show more on Avowed. I hear there's a lot of rumors going around and a lot of speculation that the Outer Worlds 2 might be at this event. I think there's a good chance for that. Part of me feels like it's a little too soon, but like I was saying earlier, Microsoft has no problem here recently showing CGI cutscenes and giving you a roadmap to their games. And it's like I said, I completely agree with that 100% and okay with that. But if you show it to us now, the next time we best see that gameplay. Now, I don't think Playground Games is going to be here besides Forza Horizon 5. It's rumored that that game's going to be in Mexico. But to be honest with you guys, at this point, I would not be surprised if they sneak some Fable gameplay in here. I don't think it's going to be there. But it's really hard to find out what Microsoft is prioritizing and not prioritizing. They might show gameplay here because they know they might have a few more CGIs than normal, so they might try to sneak a very popular game that people have a lot of curiosity and a lot of questions with to show the gameplay for that game to, you know, kind of level it out a little bit. So I could definitely see Playground here. As Forza Horizon 5, that's where I'm stating that's the only game from them going to be here, but I would not be surprised if we do see something Fable related. I don't know what that would be, but I'm just going to stand my ground right there. Now, Rare is the next studio. I see them coming out with a big expansion for Sea of Thieves. I don't really see anything Everwild related. I kind of think that game's been pushed back another year, but we're going to see a lot in terms of what the future of Sea of Thieves is going to be like. And I think for the most part, people will be happy with that. It's no secret that people have really gravitated towards Sea of Thieves. I myself still can't really understand that. I think it's one of those games that's fun, but I don't see why people love it the way they do. But I'm not going to rain on their parade. Maybe I'll try it again in the future. It's been a lot of patches and a lot of content in general that has been put into Sea of Thieves, so maybe that game will be better for me as of now. Now, Turn 10 and Undead Labs, that is the last 2 studios that's in the Xbox little sleeve. We're going to go into Bethesda here in a second. I don't think either one of these studios are going to be here. I don't think Undead's ready to show gameplay, and I don't think Turn 10 is ready to show what this game's going to look like on the new type of engine they're using. I feel like both of these studios are going to take time off this year, and we'll see them next year. But when it comes to Undead Labs, they might throw us a bone. I don't know, but I don't think either one of these studios are going to be here. Now let's talk about Bethesda. I'm not going to really go too much into their studios because a lot of their studios are accounted for, and some of their studios are even making exclusives for PlayStation currently because pre-existing conditions and certain requirements and contracts that was already signed before Microsoft bought Bethesda. Obviously, the biggest thing that Bethesda has at this conference is Starfield. We will see that. I think it's going to be a decent gameplay reveal, maybe even with Todd Howard, and they're going to show exactly why you should be excited for Starfield. I think Project Omen's going to be here, and hopefully they'll show gameplay on that, and that comes out next year. But besides that, I think a lot of the Bethesda games are spoken for. We might see what Machine Games is working on besides that Indiana Jones game. Maybe a Wolfenstein 3 will show up at this event. But besides those 3 games, I don't really see Bethesda having a huge presence at this show. I think one of the reasons that they're so hyped for this show, because it's both of them together for one, and another, they do have some brand new stuff to show you, but I think that they have more gameplay than the actual Microsoft studio. So I think between Starfield, Project Omen, and maybe Wolfenstein 3, you're going to see a lot of gameplay off those 3 titles, and that's going to take up probably 15 to 20 minutes of the show. So I think that's why Bethesda is really key to this, because you're going to see more gameplay from them than the Xbox Game Studios. Now, obviously, there is stuff that could be shown at this event that I really have no knowledge with. Like, for instance, the Project Typhoon game, that probably is going to be here, maybe come out next year. There's that Project Dragon thing that IO Interactive's making. Who knows what that's going to do? That might be here from some kind of CGI scene. But the biggest thing that I want to point out that I personally like about shows like this is the mic the drop moments. I think those are extremely important because that's how you leave an impression. And I have a couple, not many, but I do have a couple. I took out some studio accusations because I felt like those were more of a mic drop moment than those were just a regular accusation. So let's go into those real quick. I think there's a chance that maybe they pick up neither Sega, Warner Brothers, or even Bungie. Yes, I said Bungie. I do think that the odds of Bungie's very slim, but I know there's a lot of rumors going around that Bungie might be purchased by Microsoft. There is no secret that at this current moment, guess what has still not left Game Pass? Destiny 2 Beyond Light. It's been out long enough that I feel like a contract would have went up, but it hasn't. It's still remained in there. Maybe they just keep extending the contract and giving them more money, or maybe Bungie is content with how things are going, but I feel like it is a possibility, maybe a slim one, slim to none. But I do think it's a possibility that they do pick up Bungie. Warner Brothers, I think this is another one that's maybe a little higher than Bungie, but it's not really a high chance either. I think currently at this moment, Warner Brothers is still shopping around. You know, I think at the moment they're probably on individual studios. So maybe Microsoft might not necessarily announce that they bought the entire company, but they'll announce that they bought individual developers in Warner Brothers, like maybe NetherRealm or Rocksteady, because I know they need their own version of a comic book hero. This next one is Sega. I know a lot of people kind of think that this is going to happen. I feel like out of all the acquisitions I have brought up in the mic drop moments, this is the most realistic one. I'm still kind of baffled by the fact that no Yakuzas have left Game Pass. It doesn't really look like anything Sega related that has went into Game Pass has left Game Pass. I feel like that's weird. I have a video actually about why I think Sega has been bought by Microsoft. And obviously, I think if I were to give a percentage on this, it would be like a 60-40. Clearly, there's a huge chance that this doesn't happen, but I think it would be great if it did happen. It would definitely be a mic to drop moment. And this last one is a particular game. I used to love Splinter Cell. It used to be one of the key stealth things. It's probably the reason that I love games like Dishonored, because it introduced that stealth mechanic into me, and it's been with me ever since. I don't think there's a good chance that this happens. Maybe a 70-30. 70 it doesn't happen, 30 it does. But if they ended the show with a Splinter Cell exclusive, maybe not even exclusive, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would be excited that this game is even out or even coming out, regardless if exclusive or not. But it would be awesome if Microsoft was able to secure that bag and get this on their platforms and exclusive. But that's it, guys. That's my predictions for 2021 E3 Xbox's Microsoft conference. What did you guys think? Do you guys think I'm off? I'm probably off on a lot of things. I don't know everything behind the scenes. I'm just giving you some of my hopes, some of my dreams, and some of the things that I would expect at this type of conference from past experiences and pretty much how the coverage has been throughout the years. I think that this list is kind of solid. There's some things here that clearly with the third party, we're not going to know everything there. First party can be very, very weird in terms of how many studios they have, because Microsoft has a lot of options, and the mic to drop moments, just that, mic to drop moments. So tell me in the comment section below, what do you guys agree with, what do you guys disagree with, and what do you guys want at the E3 conference? And I'm curious to hear you guys' opinion. Keep in mind, on the Iron Lords podcast, we will be live reacting to this, live on show. Definitely go down there in the description, click that IOP Twitter and follow there. That way you know when we're gonna go live. And I definitely will be reviewing the event by myself on this channel, so definitely hit that bell icon if you want to see that. But until next time, definitely put in that comment section below, what do you guys think about this event? It's like I said, tell me what you guys think I got right, what I got wrong, and what you guys personally want at this event. But until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.